This is American First Patriot Podcast. Defending freedom and liberty is our motto. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Chauncey Brown. My sidekick and co-host, veteran Jarrod Tomassi in Q. I hope everyone has been safe. I know my buddy's laughing already at me. I hope that everyone has been safe and well. There's a lot of challenges not only going on in this country but around the world. So without any further ado, let me bring in my sidekick and let you chew it up a little bit, see what's going on. Veteran, my brother from another mother, but the same father, Jarrod Tomassi.
Man, I always love hearing that.
So
feels good, man.
We can go. Yeah, Jarrod, we could just start chewing it up. You were talking before we started the show. Jarrod and I were talking about bringing some guests on. So, Jarrod, we could just go right into talking about, a couple of people that you spoke about and, the guests that you might want to bring on and, their fields, and stuff like that. So share that with us.
Yeah, so a couple buddies of mine, Freedom Foxtrot 3, good dudes, combat controllers, special ops vets, taking it to the next level with a faith, family, and freedom company, which is just right up our alley. They want to join us. So Chauncey, you and I will reach out to them this week, and or I'll just get them set up, man, have them come on.
Awesome.
And then, yeah, dude, they're exciting. These guys are exciting.
Hey, listen, that's what we're here for. America first, defending freedom and liberty, and whatever we can do to help others get their message out. That's what we're here. I'm hoping to have a couple of guests call in tonight. One is a friend they're both a friend of mine. One, Dr. Mallory Earl, who's a political strategist. He was originally from North Jersey, now I believe residing down south. He has won a couple of, actually one campaign, which for the first Dominican mayor in the country, he led and worked on that campaign and helped that individual get elected. That's probably one of his most prominent feats as a political strategist, helping a newcomer, a chiropractor, come out of nowhere and become the first Dominican mayor in the city of Passaic in New Jersey in the country's history. Also, a friend of mine, John Hayes, who was a congressional candidate out of PA5, was blessed to get the line to run for state senator unopposed in the primary. So I'm hoping, I spoke to him earlier, he was out getting petitions for a young lady who was running for Congress, and he was helping her, so he's going to try to call in a little later. So what else is going on, Jarrod?
Nothing, man. I got another buddy, John Noble, out of Houston area chapter president of Oil and Gas. He wants to talk a little bit about gas and what's going on in that world, so that'll be a good call, too.
That'll be awesome. I mean, especially what's going on now. American oil and gas companies are being hit. It's really a shame what the Biden administration is doing. They just sent $13 billion to Ukraine, and we can't even fight our border. We got homeless veterans, and you're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine. I mean, listen, I'm all for helping other countries, but when our country is in the situation that it is, open borders, high crime, human trafficking, drugs, guns, I mean, we can go on, homelessness, mental illness, CRT, trying child abuse of our kids, illegal mandates. I mean, we can go on and on with what's going on in this country, inflation, high gas prices, and they're more worried about, world affairs. It's sad. It really, and he's a disaster on the world stage. And he's a disaster on the world stage. It's just pathetic, to say the least. It really is. I was looking at some figures today from the Associated Press, They released some figures. And more than 2.5 million Ukrainians fled the country. What's interesting is as of March 13th, 131,365 of those that fled Ukraine went to Russia. I found that to be interesting. And, of course, they went to surrounding, most of the people. 1.7 million went to Poland. Over 300,000 went to other European countries. Hungary was 255,000. Slovakia was 204,000, and next was Russia. Russia ranked number 5th. I found that to be interesting. Russia's attacking Ukraine, yet 131,000 flee to Russia. I guess that's the safest place to go to, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of dynamics and cultural stuff over there that people really don't realize. One of the things I can share, and I tend not to talk about it too much just because I don't have that opportunity. But I'm Jewish blood, so I'm Hebrew bloodline, and what I know about my family is they migrated out of Israel. They were pushed out of Israel early on, and where they ended up was actually in Eastern Europe, and it just so happens they ended up in Eastern Ukraine. Okay, and so sit with me for a second. There was no relevance to this story until really now. When World War II happened, my family fled into Italy, took on the last name of an Italian family, and then fled into the U.S. and went underground. And actually didn't talk about being Jewish until just recently. So I didn't even know this. But what come to find out is a lot of folks, and look, we don't need to go into who's right and wrong. First of all, I'm praying for all the families of all the soldiers and all of the civilians in all the areas for safety, hedge of protection, and just divine intervention. Okay, so that being said, what I basically believe is 2 war criminals, the head of each country, are fighting, and unfortunately the people in the middle are the ones who are affected the most. But here's the interesting thing. Eastern Ukraine doesn't want to be part of Ukraine. They are Jewish. They don't want to be under what they consider a Nazi regime. Okay? You got to remember, World War II ended. Nazis didn't just disappear. Oh, America won, and now we're going to stop being Nazis today because they won. We'll give it up. No, they continued. They just didn't continue in their large genocide or dominance. So just remember, there's a lot of cultural conflict happening there that no one knows about or understands, just like you didn't understand the different tribes of the American Indians and what their conflicts were. You don't know what happened between northern Mexico and southern Mexico. You know what I mean? You don't understand the French and Indian War because you weren't Indian and you're not freaking French. So everybody all of a sudden is Ukraine or Russian. And you're not, people. You're not. So just be awake and show love for the people in the middle. But I think I know why the world has gotten this way. You want to know what it is?
Yes.
It's from WHAMs. You know what WHAMs are?
No.
Weak ass men. That's what happens, dude. Dude,
listen,
I think that's the whole problem with the world, dude.
I want to take it up a notch. I got to take it up a notch. That's a good one. I like that. But I want to take it up a notch, and I would say men that do not fear God, that do not have God in their life, guiding their steps, but ego, their own will, their own feelings and emotions are guiding them. And we see this, the fallout. You brought up something that's very, very interesting. A dynamic of Eastern Ukraine is predominantly Jewish people that have been taken advantage of by the Ukrainian government, by the way. So if we look at it even in that perspective, Russia is saving the Jewish people from the corrupt government of Ukraine. But, of course, the media is not going to promote that. And someone else shared to me, which I found interesting. I don't know if it was you or someone else. Somebody else told me that Putin was a born-again Christian. And I found that to be extremely interesting. Also, I know that Putin is against the New World Order. He kicked out the World Bank out of Russia. He doesn't want to be a part of NATO, as well as Donald Trump didn't want to be a part of NATO because they're clipping the U.S. over all these millions of dollars, yet the U.S. has to protect them, and they get nothing in return. Of course, I pray for the people in the middle. War is never a good because people always, someone is going to lose their lives, and I don't ever promote war, ever, But like you said, it's deeper than what the media is showing us. We have to pray for the people in the middle, but like you said, the politics and even, they spend more time, the media, as I was watching some stuff today, it's unfortunate, but they want to highlight the pain and suffering of individuals more than exactly what's really going on politically through both of those countries. I think it's sad.
That's
anybody
what they do
and killed, but to put on television to promote their misfortunes, their suffering, and I'm saying 24/7. I'm not saying do a clip, but I mean, but like I said, the mainstream media is in bed. They want that narrative for, like you said, they want the U.S. to be for Ukraine and for us to be against Russia. Why? I'm an American. I'm not Ukraine or Russian.
Exactly.
I'm going to wave the American flag. I'm not going to wave no Ukrainian. I'll pray for the people. I'll pray for the soldiers on both sides. But I'm not going to wave a flag of another country. Go ahead, Jarrod.
No, that's what causes the untrust, right? Is the agenda. Why aren't we seeing both sides? Why are we getting fed one side? That creates mistrust. If you don't show your cards, or if you're not willing to show your cards, it makes people suspicious. And it's the same thing that happened with COVID, is why weren't you letting doctors speak up, whether they are right or wrong? If they're wrong, you say how they're wrong. If they're right, you say, good, I'm glad. We need innovation. We need